this is the crash course for the beginning teacher, or how to get ready, get set, and go. This is a new teacher quick guide start for you here. The first part is simply called Get Ready. I'm going to give you all the information how to get ready for your school time. So for the school and community, get to know the school's neighborhood. Learn about the socioeconomic area. Learn about the diversity and the languages that are spoken. Learn about the demographics of the school. All schools in California have what's called the SARC, or the School Accountability Report Card. You can find that online through anything. You can learn so much about the school that you're going to be working at. You can also learn a lot about the culture of the school. You can go through the websites and learn about the students and see what they're talking about, what they're showing up with, what kind of activities are they on. And also with your school community, you want to work with your colleagues. And I'm going to talk about department meetings and faculty meetings a little bit later. Regarding the staff, make good connections with the staff. Now, it's obvious that your principal and other administrators spend some time hiring you. Work with them, okay? They're there to support you. If you need help, make sure you reach out to them as they want to reach out to you to make sure that you are going to be a successful teacher in their school site. Now, the secretaries are another important group. They know the pulse of the school. Get to know the secretaries because they can help you with anything. Custodians, that's another point. Those are, I call the two most important people. Custodians are really important because they help keep your room clean. They can get you paper if you need it, things like that. The security, your security aides are over there to also. They know the students. They know the students who may be causing problems. You can find out through your security aides, what is going on with the student and try to give them support, try to give them help. Of course, you're going to be working with department heads and fellow teachers, as well as paraprofessionals. And I'll talk a bit more about that when we get into some other things. Concerning politics, okay? Politics are in every school. When you go to staff and department meetings, be open to attend those. Be open to what's going on. Listen to what's happening with that. And come with an open mind. Learn from others who are in the department, who are in the school building, and be aware of taking sides. You don't want to start taking sides, and don't enter into gossip. Remember, you are a new teacher there. So new teachers are on probation. And being on probation there until you finally get tenure, which is usually 2 years after your full-time hire, you just need to be careful. Just please be aware of that, okay? So that this way you don't get yourself in trouble. And know your union. All schools in the area have unions. Find out about it, learn what they do and what they can't do for you as an intern teacher. See if they can support you if you need help. I want to talk a bit about the facility, all right? All the facilities are all different. Now, this is a big warning. Restrooms, okay? Now, listen very carefully. Between now until school starts, there's usually no students in the building. And this has happened. I've had an intern teacher, some of my student teachers actually, they were using the boys' room because it was easier for them to use the boys' room than to go all the way down the end of the hall to use the faculty restrooms, okay? And he was so used to doing this that when school started, he went into the boys' room, did his thing. And let me tell you, there was so much hassle with that because he got in trouble. He should not be using the boys' restroom. Use the room that's designated for staff. Okay, don't use the student restroom. Even now, as a student may be in there, they came early to work on something at the school. You may not know it. Use the restroom that's designated, okay? End of story, all right? Know the facility, know your offices too. The main office, the counseling office, know where the dean's office is, the nurses, special ed. Know where all these offices are. It's kind of like a roadmap of your school existence. Now, copiers are another thing. There's photocopiers. We use photocopiers all the time. But know how to use them, all right? If you need to find out how to use them, please ask. The worst thing you can do as an intern or as a new teacher is to come in there, mess up the copier, and then walk away. Your name will be mud for a real long time, all right? There's another way to print things, that you can print things commercially too. If you have massive quantities of things to print up, and it can all be done for you. But anyway, know how to use the copiers. Plan your route before school. When school starts, in San Francisco, there will be 50 plus another 30. There will be about 80,000 kids going to school when school starts. And right now, when you're going to the school site, it's like 80,000 less people traveling. This includes the buses, individual cars, ride shares, whatever it is. So plan your route. Know your parking area. San Francisco teachers have the ability to have the right to get residential parking permits, and that allows you to park in a residential zone. It'll cost you money. The thing is that each school is allocated to only so many. So you have to get on a waiting list, and hopefully, I don't know if Department of Parking and Traffic now is issuing more permits, but then hopefully you'll be able to get one if you're in a zone parking area in this area, okay? Watch out for street cleaners too. Please read the signs. You don't want to rack up tickets while you're trying to teach. Now, as far as teaching space is concerned, make it yours. You're going to clean, straighten, and I'm going to get into some of this stuff here. You're going to make minor repairs. In fact, I'll just show you right now. This is really handy. I don't know if you can see. I'll pull this down over here a little bit. Okay. Now, this is really, really handy. Paper towels and 409. You're going to get in there and really clean things up. Bring your tools. If you have friends that can help you do some minor repairs, desks that need tightening, shades that may need a little adjusting, things like that, repairs are good. Now, if there are things that are broken, you need to let the custodial staff know, like yesterday, because they are the ones that try to get things repaired for you. Also, you might want to try to think about going shopping too. Right now, Target has a sale for stuff. Now's the time to get markers and things like this. When you're supplying, and I'll talk about this later too, when you're supplying your classroom, you might want to get little boxes. So that your little tables, your table groups, you can put a little box there, and all your supplies for your students are there. They don't have to ask you. One of the things I've been encouraging teachers to do, and for very great success, they have a little supply caddy. Now, you can have a supply caddy just on your desk or somewhere students can get things, and they don't have to ask you to get a pencil. They can just go and get them. Or you may just have a can of pencils there. A kid might say, hey, I need a pencil. Just point right over there. My whole thing is you're going to hear me say this again, don't work harder, work smarter, so they work harder. The other thing that we have here, dongles for your computer. There's a tray here, for example. You can put papers and things like this. This is math for third period. If you have a bunch of trays and you're distributing homework and the student isn't there, or you passed out papers and the student wasn't there, or they lost it, it's just look at the third period, go look at the pile there, and hopefully that paper will be in there. There's some other things I'll share with you a little bit later. Oh, don't forget the Clorox wipes, okay? Hand wipes. Now, everybody who's an educator knows what this is, right? It's called sanitizer, all right? Great stuff. All right. Now, those are really important things that you go supplies, get some supplies. You're going to get some supplies from school, but go shopping, really. Now it's all the sales. Target will give you 10% off as a teacher. Other places will give you 10% off, which is really helpful. You should know that education or working in a school is the only time that you steal things from home to take to work. Usually if you're at work, you take things from work and you bring it home. No. When you're working in a school, you take things from home and bring it to school. All right. Now, this is help for the traveling teacher. Now, most teachers, if you're brand new, and this happened to some of my teachers, one of my teachers taught 5 classes of a language. He taught it in 3 different classrooms on 2 floors. So you can imagine this person had to run all over the place. So he asked me what to do. And I said, you missed the point when I talked about help for the traveling teacher. First of all, get yourself a traveling pad. Get yourself a Post-it pad like that. When you run from class to class, and this is what he did, you run from class to class, you take your sheet and you post your do-nows. So when the do-nows are up the board, we'll talk about this, the do-nows, and the students know what to do. Right when they come into class, they're working away. You're taking role. You're working on getting yourself together. You're organizing yourself. You're plugging in your computer to make sure things work. Another thing that I told him to do, get a box like this. He could put all his stuff in a box for all the papers, and he could he ran from class to class. Of course, he had all the classes that, of course, were back to back. They were on the different floor and across other halls. So he had quite a ways to go. But everything is here. And this is another thing, if on the very first day of school, we'll talk about this more a little bit later, but have this up. You can call this a do now. They call this a Blackboard configuration. There's all kinds of iterations of this. If you have one of these every single day at a certain place, then your students will know what to look for, what's going to happen, what's going to go on that day, and the homework. You don't even have to yell out the homework. I've heard teachers yell out the homework as kids. The bell rings. Oh, I forgot the homework. Do page 45. Problems one day, tomorrow. And half the class is gone. And nobody's writing anything down. So if it's already here, it's already here. You don't even have to say anything. Okay, so get yourself organized. If you're organized like this, then your students will be organized too. All right. If you are a traveling teacher, negotiate and cooperate with the resident teacher. Now, no teacher owns the classroom. Okay, the classrooms are owned by the local government. Nobody owns it. I mean, they say, oh, this is my room. Well, negotiate for workspace. Hopefully you'll have a spot to put your coffee cup or something down. Yeah, there's spaces for you to put up things on the wall. You want to show student work. You want to have notices or whatever. And always clean and straighten up the room before you leave, and be a good neighbor to that what I call the resident teacher. All right. Now for art, music, and PE, you're going to be working very closely with the department heads in these places. So do a lot of cleaning and organizing. Notice that their equipment or repair budget is pretty limited, and especially in a lot of these places. And if you're in a PE office, you're going to be sharing that office, and you may get a desk space, and you work collaboratively with the other teachers, because again, all these departments, if you're working in the department, you do need collaboration, a lot of collaboration with what you're doing here. So personalize your room and make it your own space, okay? Now, the school calendar. This is always a lot of fun. You know, the SFUSC has a school calendar. It looks like this, right? And all these things are on the calendar. And you're saying to yourself, well, how in the world am I going to work on this type of stuff? Well, you have to. You have to look at the school calendar and say, okay, when am I going to put up those tests? When am I going to do things like have working projects or labs or performances? So really work on planning the assessments and look at times before or after major holidays. There's breaks, there's special events, there's proms, there's game rallies, there's all these different things that may disrupt your teaching schedule. And believe it or not, if you have this all together here, you'll live longer, you'll prosper. No, you'll be more organized, and you won't have a lot of emergencies. All right. Now, emergencies will happen, but at least you have a plan to avoid disasters. So come up with a good working plan for yourself on your calendar. All right.